In this video, we'll be covering the simulation for BobCAD CAM. So when we first load up our simulation, we have our top toolbar here. These are some quick buttons to click so you can work your way through the simulation. You have a play button, a stop button, fast forward, and next operation, as well as restarting your simulation and your simulation speed. So if I move this, we'll see it actually moves here and down here. There's 3 tabs, and we'll cover each tab individually. So the first one is simulation. The first mode we have is material removal, which will actually see the tool cutting the material away. We also have backplot, where we actually just see the tool following the toolpath, but we won't see any material being removed. So I'm going to use the material removal. The next option is how we're seeing our toolpath actually run. Now we have NC mode, where when we hit play, it's going to run based off of the move list over here. We also have a time mode where we see the total time and how long it's taking to cut and where we're at in each minute. And then we have length mode. This shows us our length of all of our feed moves and everything and how the tool is actually moving. This one's going to show you a little bit more accurately how the tool is moving around the part. Now how we view this is we have 3 different views. We have a workpiece in stock where the workpiece sits still and the tool cuts around. We have a machine view where the machine is going to show how the tool runs around. And we have a tool view where we see the tool stay still and the part move around the tool. Now here's our control tab. If we have multiple cuts, we can say stop and then step forward or step back. We can show previous or next operations. We can run or loop run, which will continuously play the system over and over again. We have our stop button, fast forward, and restart, as well as our simulation run speed. And then we have our different views. The first one here is fit, so it's going to fit everything to the center of the screen. We have isometric view, top, front, right, bottom, back, and left. And then right here we have a button to either show or hide the toolpath. So if we click this button here, it's going to show us the toolpath. Click it again, it turns it off. We have this one here that shows us the tool, or hides it, or turns it back on. Our workpiece is what's sitting inside our CAD window for our solid model, so we can turn it on, turn it transparent, or turn it off. And then we have our stock, so we can turn it transparent, turn it off, or turn it back on. And then we have our machine housing. This would be if we ran in machine mode, you can see the entire machine. So we'll turn that off. So the next options are our toolpath rendering. If we click toolpath, we get all these rendering options. So let me go back to the workpiece. And this will show us either the tool tip or tool center based off how we want the toolpath to come out. Right now we have it showing either all operations, or we can have it show just the current operation. We can have the toolpath as it runs around the part. We can have it follow the tool. We can have it trace the toolpath, and everything that we cut is then taken out. Or we can do a segment, so it just shows segments of the toolpath. We like to do follow. And then we have our tool vectors, so this is the direction of the tool, whichever way the tool is facing. And then we have our toolpath points. Toolpath points, when we zoom in, we'll actually see these tiny little points all over this. That's actually every point that's on this toolpath that we get a different move for. So pretty much any arc that we create, it's going to be broken like that. So then I could turn the tool vectors off and turn off the toolpath points. And I'll go ahead and hit pause. And then we can have a special option to show us the leads and the linking. If we didn't want to see them, we could turn them off. So I'll go ahead and turn off my toolpath and turn my stock back on. And then we'll come up to the verification window. So over here we have verification. This is where we get our gouge reports. And this is where we will apply and reset any refines that we have on the part if it's not clean enough for us. And then we have our different views of what toolbars we see along the side and at the bottom. So toolbars along the side, the first one is our move list. This shows us each operation and then their move list. The next tab is our toolpath analysis. So when I turn my toolpath on, we can see that the yellow that we see, let's just show the current, is op number 1, and that is for the profile rough. So we're just seeing the op 1, and when we switch to op number 2, we'll actually see the toolpath change colors. So now we're doing our finish pass around the outside, and it's green all the way around. The next information we see is statistics, where we can actually scroll down. We can see our feed rate, we can see our tool tip position, our machining angles, as well as down in the bottom we can see our sequence and see the total machining time for this part based off of our feeds and speeds. The next option is our machine, which just brings the machine that we have selected into this window. You can't really change anything in here. And then our simulation tab. We can set this up to stop at any tool changes or stop at any operations changes. And when it makes a stop, you have to come in and hit play or run for it to continue on after that. Down here in the bottom, we have our report tab, which will show us any collisions along the way. We have our cut sim tab, which allows us to show the accuracy as well as the collision checking. So what is being collision checked? We have the flute, shaft, arbor, and holder. And then we have our part analysis. So we'll see right here between these two, the first toolpath we had cut everything, and when it cut, it made everything white. So we'll see all the white. This is what's not been finished yet. And then the light blue that we have here is the finish path. So it's just showing us what color has been cut with what tool. And then we have our measure tab. This allows us to measure points, distances, or go in and remove chips. And then we have our axis control to find out how our tool is able to move around the part based off our machine. And then down here we have our progress tab, which allows us to see where we're at according to how we're running this part. So if I want to, I could grab this and drag it forward and back. And it'll just load. And then when it's all done loading, if I'm all the way at the end, I'll see the finished product all the way. And that concludes the video on the simulation.